Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, October 30th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right here will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol IBRX. Been talking about this one quite a bit. Drew that trend line into place in the previous video, and you can see today got a very, very nice breakout through that level. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. Now put a new trend line into play, except this one would be what I would consider more so a support trend line to keep an eye on moving into next week. That area being right there at, let me adjust that a little bit. There we go. And change that to the color green to represent support. So in the very near term, I'd keep an eye on that level, and as long as the price stays above there, that's certainly going to make the chart look the strongest. With that being said, don't get me wrong, it's not like if the price falls below that level, then that means the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But as far as what would make the chart look the best, definitely if the price could stay above there. From more of a bigger picture point of view, just watch that purple line right there, the 50-period simple moving average. Keyword there being simple, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So it's basically like an overall trend line that's going to draw itself for you. In terms of areas of resistance, key level here, going to be right there at that level, which sits at $2.63, essentially just where the momentum finally stopped today, up around that area right there. But all in all, nice movement. In fact, I should probably, for those of you that like patterns, let me just draw in the quick pattern very quickly. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upwards move there, we have the golf hole down here. So the nice bull pennant pattern. Next one, AMZN. Very, very impressive move today with the earnings, and talked about this previously, but these levels are not really anywhere, the price isn't anywhere close to those levels. So while they sure do pertain, they're not relevant anymore. So I'll just get rid of them because I don't want to risk causing confusion and clutter because there's lines everywhere you look. But the first key dynamic to watch from a resistance standpoint, I just want to give a little bit more context here. You can see the big gap up, but as I zoom back in here, first key level to watch from the resistance standpoint is actually twofold. So let me just map out the overall one. And the idea here, nothing fancy, just a question of where did the momentum finally run out, and that was right up there at the $130 mark. But before you really put focus on that, in the very near term, you're going to want to watch that pink line there, the 200-period moving average, and you can see just a classic example here that was an area of support, but when that level of support failed, it has now gone right back into acting as resistance. So in the very near term, keep it on that 200-period moving average, but if the price can break up through there, then yes, the next key level would be that $130 mark. In terms of levels of support, no need to overcomplicate this at this point. It's all about that purple line, which you now know is that 50-period moving average. So a nice, flat movement there. But if the price can stay above it, then as time goes by next week, that line will start to curl itself upwards and then turn into an uptrending trend line, which is always a good thing, assuming you're bullish. So overall, very nice day here for Amazon. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford. And yeah, very, very nasty day here. But the key thing here is that Ford is a relatively popular stock. A lot of people have heard of it. And when you have popular stocks that have gotten beat down, and this one, like I said, very clearly has gotten beat down today, that's an interesting combination because people like to try to catch moves off the bottom. People like to look for those capitulation movements, and that's what we have here. Now, maybe you don't agree. Maybe you're like, no, I don't like these sorts of situations, and that's fine. That's why I try to offer variety in these watch lists. But if you are somebody that likes, like I said, a relatively popular stock getting beat down, then keep an eye on this. How bad has it been today? I mean, look at this. Whoops. Grabbed the wrong there. Look at this at afternoon. I mean that is one steep trend line, which really just illustrates how nasty this downwards move here was. But like I said, if you like that sort of situation, then certainly keep an eye on it. And that's what a watch list is all about: finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it. But that also goes back to my point of if you don't find this interesting, if this is not really what this you're looking for, then no problem at all. But some people definitely are, and I want to offer up a variety. Next one here, ticker symbol APLM, and interesting situation. I like it because this opening 30 minutes, very nice, but then started to drop. And then right there at that point, you enter into a very, very sketchy situation. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that have traded for a while. But at that point, it's a very legitimate question to say, uh-oh, is this one of these gap and traps where the price just collapses right back to where it was? And no, that did not happen here. The price actually started to level out and go sideways. Now, I wish I could say that just because that's occurred, that means for sure guaranteed this consolidation, or this pullback is over, and for sure guaranteed the price is going to continue upwards. No, you can't quite say that. My point here is, does it become a lot more valid? Does it become more plausible at this point to think that this sideways consolidation could now potentially lead to a turnaround because the pullback is over? That is certainly a plausible and credible scenario. So if you like penny stocks, if you like these situations where you get the big move up and then things are looking really bad, but then all of a sudden the price starts to go sideways, keep an eye on it. Next one here, AMC, and definitely getting into a very interesting scenario for early next week, and that scenario has to do with the level that I mapped out in yesterday's video, specifically this $9.08 mark, which has a huge track record of providing support. So let me move this over here a little bit. There we go. So you can see right here, and I know I did this in a previous video, but just to remind everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and once again, the price is getting down within that area, which makes an interesting question to throw out there. If the price goes back down there, will history repeat itself like it's done 5 times before and get the bounce back upwards? Again, no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that way? Yeah, that is a more than plausible thing that could potentially happen. In the event 908 does not hold, then the next key level of support is at down there at the 895 mark, which is very important. And the reason why that is important is if I squeeze out, you can see that that is actually the bottom of this very big term, I don't think that's a word, this very longer term sideways channel pattern that has been forming here. So like I said, 908, interesting, but then that 895 mark right there, very, very important, because if the price breaks below there, that would imply that it's a bearish breakdown of the sideways channel. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, ticker symbol ICU, and some very interesting dynamics are going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is reach way back here into this older part of the chart and draw this trend line here, because you'll see that it's now playing a very significant role within the overall chart here moving forward. So check it out. I mean, this is just the power of charts. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. By using that point and that point, look how it did. Spot on job of forecasting where that area of resistance was. And by no means is this some sort of complicated level to draw. So you got to think a lot of people have drawn it, and a lot of people are watching wondering, okay, if the price goes back up to that area, so that's the question everybody's eyes are revolving around, but if the price can go up there and then get a break up through it, does that break create additional buying pressure? Even if you just want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, that is not guaranteed, but it is more than plausible. So keep an eye on that trend line there from the overall standpoint of supports, of resistances. In terms of levels of support, then we'll go back to our trusty purple line there, the 50-period moving average. So keep an eye on that level, as that line will continue to move itself higher and higher next week. But in my opinion, at least, the most interesting dynamic is all about that upward trend line and seeing if the price can work up enough momentum to push through. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall, it's hanging in there. It's doing battle. It's holding where you'd want to see it hold, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched the previous video, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that green line right there at 205.25 as a key level of support, and gapped up this morning, came down, and never hit it exactly, but I think we'd all agree, got very close, well within the range, and so far so good, has at least started to go sideways down around that area, but that does lead to certainly a valid question of, is this just a temporary breath? Are the bears just taking a little bit of a break before moving to the downside? A very valid situation and a very valid scenario. If the price does indeed break down through 205.25, next key level down there at the 202.50 mark from a support side of things. If the price does try to bounce, then you do have that level there at 210.25, and then not that far away up above, you'd have that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. So in other words, even if the price were to break above that 210.25 mark, you wouldn't want to get too excited, because not that far up above is that 50-period moving average. You can see right there, perfect example of it acting as resistance. So definitely keep an eye on this dynamic. But yeah, is this level right here, is this sideways action going to hold, or is this a break to the downside waiting to happen? We'll see how next week, or more specifically early next week, starts to play out. Next one here, AMD, nice bounce today. So no doubt about that, from where the price was down here to where it is right now. Good solid bounce, but that does lead to the valid question, but is there any sort of genuine power behind this bounce? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it all revolves around this level right there at $94.60. Why is that level important? Well, hopefully we can agree on the logic that price movements with genuine power, the price is going to progress upwards. So in other words, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down here and then break down below, what would that be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back inside of this range where it just was. And a price movement going back to where it was, not exactly a sign of true strength, right? Nice move up and then all of a sudden back to where it was. That's not genuine power. We would call that a dead cat bounce. However, if the price comes down here and then does hold that level and curl back upwards, now all of a sudden what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right there. You'd have those lows right there. And if you envision each of those as stair steps, you now have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. And again, that's what a truly strong move is going to do. Nothing can go straight up, but you do want to see progress. And again, in this situation, quote unquote progress being defined as 94.60. Next one here, NIO, relatively popular stock, and what makes this interesting, and I've already talked about this, but the same general idea, check out the first 30 minutes, blood. Next 30 minutes, even more blood. And then after that, it's like somebody slammed on the brakes, and then just boom, all of a sudden sideways the price went. So does this finally mean that this is some sort of bottom and that there's going to be some sort of nice bullish move to the upside? No guarantees, but you know what I'm going to say next. It becomes a lot more plausible. It's a reasonable thought to have. So, I mean, if the price was still just sitting here going straight down, straight down, straight down, straight down, and then I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like this could be the bottom, you'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? Based on what? But obviously that's not the case here. The price has started to go sideways. So is this some sort of bottom forming here on NIO? Is there going to be some sort of turnaround bounce? Even if it's just a dead cat bounce, from a trading standpoint, that still can be profitable. Definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ is going to go up, this one will also go up, and it's one of the more popular ETFs out there. And again, this just brings a tear to my eye, and this will mean more to those of you that watched the previous video. And I'll turn this into a quick plug. Get signed up for that free class because charts really are a valuable tool. But for those of you that watch past videos, you know that I put that line in play. You know that I talked about it as an area of resistance. And check it out. Surprise, surprise, right where the price found some problems before getting rejected back down right at that level. So just, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I am patting charts on the back though. So yeah, get signed up for that class and you can learn that much more about why they're so powerful and helpful as a trader. But so as far as levels of resistance, already talked about the main one right there, that level of resistance. But even if that level were to be broken, don't get too excited because not that far away up above it, you have the 50 period moving average right there. And then as far as supports are concerned, to give some credit where credit's due, finally the price didn't put in any new lows. That's been the theme recently is new low, but no new lows here, and new low being defined as right there at, let's just call it $30.50. But if the price does come down there, then yeah, you have a valid situation where you can wonder, hey, is this going to be some sort of double bottom where the price comes down there and gets the bounce? Certainly a valid situation to throw out there and consider. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for that class next week. It'll be Thursday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit that like button and leave a comment. It can be a very basic comment. Say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Give me your watches for next week. But those two things help out the channel, help out with the algorithm, and I really do thank you in advance for it. So go get signed up for that class. Hit that like button. Leave a comment below. Have a great weekend.